I don't. And that's why I said, you know, this is war to stand up and fight for. That's our right. This is not China. I did not emigrate to China. I emigrated to Canada for one reason. There was a democracy here, values human rights, and a Christian nation that stands for God and the value of the Bible. So why would I emigrate to a country that would persecute me like communists? I would stay back there.
Yeah, from your perspective, that's what you're feeling. You're going, whoa, hold on a second, because you've been ministering there for 4 years, first of all, right? Without, as I understand it, I mean, Grace, if this is correct, without complaints for 4 years, there's been no law cases, no complaints coming into the city.
That's
now
correct.
Suddenly there's a series of noise complaints that have come in,
That's
and
right.
again, from how many people?
There was a total of 11 people that made the complaints. I believe that there was a total of 27 complaints that were actually received, but all of them generated from the 11 people. And to my knowledge, there have been actually no valid complaints. None of the complaints were validated. I do not have any evidence from the city before me. They have not provided us with any evidence. They have not provided witnesses. None of those complainants have come forward and signed an affidavit. So from our perspective, the legal perspective is there are no valid complaints actually that stand.
Well, you know, I've got some service request summary reports here from the city of Calgary that you forwarded to me, Art. And I understand these are legal documents, I mean, basically signed as being true by the bylaw officers. This one happened on April 26th here. It's at 7:40 in the evening. This is the time you'd be preaching, right?
That's right.
Well, same time. And I was just amazed when I saw this. You know, okay, see, he lists off the report where he's sitting at the intersection with the engine on, and a guy was playing guitar, okay? And saying, I could hear it a little bit, right? And then when traffic went by, I couldn't hear him at all, it says. Okay, so then he went to a different area, could barely hear them, had the window down, okay? And he goes to a different intersection here. He says, I couldn't hear them at all again with the traffic passing. With no traffic passing, actually, he says, I couldn't hear them, okay? Then he drove up and sat near the complainants, right? This is where the complaints are coming from, all right? And this is the loudest I actually heard them, he says, but I couldn't make out words, just that they were talking or singing. I asked a lady living at the address there if this is how they normally sound. She said yes, although she never really noticed them. There isn't a violation of the bylaw here, signed by the bylaw officer. And then there's a whole stack of these very similar reports coming from the bylaw officers. So, I mean, I just don't get it. You've got fines coming from the city saying you're breaking our noise bylaws.
No,
Not only that,
that's not correct.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Just to let the viewers know, there are no tickets
That's right.
against Art
For
under
noise.
the noise
Oh,
bylaw.
okay.
The tickets are because his 2007 permit does not allow the use of amplification, and because he's continued his ministry, the tickets come under the bylaw that gives the city the discretion to grant amplification rights or not.
So that's where it'll come down to. It won't be the noise level per se.
No.
It'll be, well, we didn't give you a permit for this, but now we're going to have to say, why didn't you give the permit for this?
Because we have the right.
And
We have the right to say no, and we say no.
Not only that,
but that's where it's going to have to come down to now.
Yes.
Well, was it for religious
Was
reasons?
it arbitrary and irrational? And
Yes.
we believe that they have been arbitrary and irrational, and we believe that they are being manipulated by either one or a handful of individuals.
Okay.
The city is being manipulated by these
not
people.
only that, we are not allowed, personally, I'm not allowed even to be in that park. As I was talking to my counselor, we were talking, and that I would go to jail for a longer period of time.
You're not allowed to trespass in Triangle Park anymore.
I cannot go there.
You can't set foot on it. Legally, they could put you in jail.
Legally, if I would feed a child that is starving to death in that park, I'm going to jail.
Okay. Now, they've moved you to a different park, is my understanding, right? And they're going to give you a 5-week trial. I talked to the director of Parks and Rec.
4 weeks.
That's what he told me. Oh, he said 5 to me, but he's told you 4?
4.
Okay, 4-week trial. Does that start this weekend then, or
This
Friday
week,
night?
this Friday, no amplification allowed at all, period.
So no amplification. Now, apparently it's 100 meters further, toward, I'm not sure which direction.
South.
But 100 meters south. He says it's a slightly larger park, which I guess would be advantageous. He says it's basically further away from the flyover, so he's
Under
saying,
the same bridge, just other side of the bridge. Changes
Okay,
nothing.
so you're saying the noise level shouldn't be affected.
No.
He was saying they hope the noise level will be lower for you.
It's on the other side of the flyover.
Okay. The other issue he brought up, and again, I don't know if this has come up illegally or not, but he was saying it reduces the amount of jaywalking that was going on there. You know, I mean, because people are coming there, and some of them are jaywalking, right?
This is the first
But
I've heard it
this is the
in
first
all
you've
of
heard
the
of it?
documents
Yeah,
and
okay.
submissions and
Okay.
discussions. There haven't been any
That's not really the issue, is it?
issues with
No.
respect to jaywalking.
And
Okay.
by the
No.
way, yeah.
I did ask him, by the way. I said, you know, what if it doesn't work? What if people can't hear the message? I said, would you be open to the possibility of having loudspeakers used again at this other park, okay, that's 100 meters further down, you know, even, particularly if they monitor the levels and they agree to you monitoring them and, you know, that they're at a level that's acceptable. And he said, well, I don't want to go there, but he said it's a possibility. That's what he said. So, see where that goes. Let's take some more phone calls. Alan, Jack. Okay, Jack from BC. Hi, Jack. Jack,
Hey,
go ahead.
good morning, or good afternoon. I have one comment and then maybe a question, and that is that I think that all other organizations, religions, do something that we as Christians don't do, and that is they make sure that they have every T crossed and all the I's dotted, so that there is no possible way that they are going against the laws at all. Whereas we just go and do things out of our heart, and they make sure that there's no legal way that the government can shut them down or anything.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if maybe we need to make sure that we have everything in order.
Okay.
Before we go out into the public.
Sure.
And I know here in Campbell River we do things like we'll have an open church out on our pier. Well, there's not even an application for a permit to do this or anything like that.
Yeah, so you're saying make sure you have all your legalities in place first, and maybe this whole thing could have been avoided. Well, let's ask that question of Art and see what he has to say. Art?
Well, first of all, we had all the permits. To this day, we did not break any of the permits, legal terms. We were under the permit.
Yeah, you were there for 4 years, first of all, without incident, other than getting some harassment from bylaw officers and police officers for preaching on the street, that sort of thing?
That's right. We were complying with the permits to every aspect of it until those two people came to us and they said they're going to call the bylaws and the politicians
that's when it
every
started.
day, and that's where it
And
started.
by the way, those two people said something interesting to you. They
Yeah,
gave you the reason why they were doing it.
Yeah, first of all, they were homosexuals, and they hated us. They said, I
Okay.
hate you and the message and the cross, and I will make sure they will shut you down. We will be phoning officials every day when we will see you until
Right,
we will
but it
drive
wasn't
them
over.
crazy.
It wasn't over homosexuality. It was over their disagreement with your particular religious message, right?
Well, the cross is big and it's visible. We are not hiding cross under the grass. It's there in the middle of the park. Everyone can see it. And we are not preaching gospel according to art.
Right.
We are preaching about Jesus Christ of Nazareth boldly, openly, without a
And
shame.
so it started after that, you're saying.
So before that, we did not have even one complaint for years. When those two gentlemen, wealthy dressed gentlemen, when they announced it, that they're going to drive the officials crazy until they will kick us out,
Right.
everything started. We can go into different elections. Gay lobby is very powerful in Calgary,
Sure.
extremely powerful. But every viewer will have to get his own opinion about it. But to this day, we did not
All right.
break the terms of our permit.
Okay.
They took the permit away based upon the noise that we were never found guilty of.
Okay. I'm just going to ask our caller real quick. Are there any suggestions you would have for Art to do things differently?
No, there wasn't. And you just covered my second question as to why, who was it that was complaining so much. And now I really understand, and I'm sure all the rest of the viewers understand where these people were coming from, be it wrong or not. But one of the greatest days in Campbell River for me and for our Four Source Square Church here, I think, was we entered a float in our local parade.
Okay.
And as a church, we made it all ourselves and everything.
Yeah.
And it turned out great. And it's so good to see the church getting out of the four walls.
You know what? I think it's a great idea to
the
get.
four walls
Yep.
are falling out, not in. And we're getting out into the community. I will continue to pray for you.